surprise guest on Zoom. Coming soon. One of us don't know what's going on. One of us don't know what's going on. There's gonna be a surprise guest on Zoom. Coming soon. Your baby girl is coming soon. Coming soon. One of us don't know what's going on. One of us don't know what's going on. There's gonna be a surprise guest on Zoom. Yeah. Coming soon. Your baby girl is coming soon. There's gonna be a surprise guest on Zoom. Coming soon. Yeah. Baby girl.
Hi. Oh, have you said anything yet?
Testing.
Oh. Just rubbing your hands. Fucking hell. Don't like this. Don't want to play anymore.
So how do you feel now?
I want it over. I do. I don't know why. It's just like honestly, if you said I don't want to do like surprise guests anymore, I'd go, yeah, cool, and I'd be fucking relieved.
They're
like,
nice when you.
Oh, they are, but it's like anything. It's like I was watching some football the other day, and it's like it's tense because you could lose the game in like 5 minutes to go, and you're like, oh, I could just turn this off. Or walk or leave and then just find out the result, and I think I'd be happier. But then you kind of
I can't wait to see your face. I don't know if you've met them.
Oh, you don't? Did you ask Petra if I've met them?
Not saying anything.
It's so weird. It's just weird. I don't know why it's not fun. It's hard. It's really weird.
It's stressful for everyone. You, me, and the guest.
Yeah. Well done, us. I wouldn't have predicted when we were talking about doing this for the first time that it would be stressful. I didn't think at all it would be. I just thought it'd be fun, like opening a present or something.
Yeah. Well, you want everyone to have a nice time.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, when you relax, you can sort of enjoy your life and just be funny or whatever. But I just feel like, don't know.
But this person is.
Oh, you distracted me then for a minute and a half. I was absolutely fine.
I like it when their name comes up and there's no clue. I love that. I hope there's no clue. Because then you've got time to adjust. It's when you see
maybe
that.
I shut my eyes.
Yes. Although, shut your eyes now.
Okay, I've got my eyes shut. Oh, this is weird.
Yeah, this is good. It's a new addition. For all you people who are skipping this bit, you're missing the shutting the eyes bit.
The new improved shutting eyes bit. If they're late.
Fucking hell.
Right, I can't be... Right.
No, shut your eyes.
Okay.
If their name comes up and it's... I mean...
Are this the kind of person who would be on time?
I'm not giving you any...
I was covering my mouth.
Have a guess.
Who is it? An actor?
Keep your eyes shut.
Oh, God, are they there?
Keep your eyes shut.
Are they there?
Keep your eyes shut.
Just tell me if they're there.
Keep your eyes shut.
Okay, now I can't say are they there, because they might be there. What the hell?
We can't... We can't see. We can't see you, Paul.
Paul? Oh, sorry, I came over too early. It's Paul first.
Oh no, it's just a camera. Oh no!
Hello, Paul Foot.
Oh, hello, Joe.
I love how close to the camera you are.
Oh yeah, nice and close. You can see me.
Oh my God! I was literally talking about you to someone last week because we walked past the pub that used to have a residency in. What was that pub called? Where you used to do like 4 shows a week a week.
Oh,
in.
the wheat sheaf.
The Wheat Sheaf, yes.
Yes.
You had a residency there for about 2 years, didn't you?
Yeah, I was there for, yes, it was the 99 Club,
Yes.
and I was there maybe about 5 years,
Fucking hell, that's mad.
and I was always there on a Saturday.
Didn't you do two shows on a Saturday?
2 shows, yes.
And my
I
friend
still go there sometimes for other bits and pieces, even now. But
Dave
yes, but that was-
Nichols, John Gordon, Dave Nichols used to support you quite a lot. Do you remember?
Yes, that's right. And then Matt Green was one of the other support people,
Yes.
and Matt Rudge.
Oh, do you know what?
Matt Rudge was another one.
I'm already having the best time. Oh, this is exactly the
I knew
person.
you'd love Paul.
Why, is that how you have the best time? What, just reminiscing about minor pub gigs 15 years ago? Is that your...
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, it's so exciting, isn't it? That's why I love it. Oh, yeah. Do you remember that show in Tufnell Park in 2008? The one where there's only 12 in the audience?
Yeah.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Yes. And Paul,
Yes.
you were always one of the people I was most excited if you were on the bill because absolutely anything could happen. It was you were one of the only people I ever, even like after doing years I'd stick around to watch. You were
Oh, that's nice.
you were always
Not anymore, you don't. It's over 15 years since you stuck around to watch
It's been about
something.
15 years since I
There
started.
has been a change in your attitude. You know? And although you say this is the best time you've ever had reminiscing about it, I think the truth is coming out because it doesn't stack up, does it? If it's so good, how come you haven't been there for 15 years? None of it. There's no logic to what you're saying. It's the classic.
Okay, you know what?
It's
So
the
that's been a
classic.
great time.
The classic bait and switch of a sort of Vladimir Putin making a load of lies. But what you say is very reminiscent of a despot.
Right, it's lovely to have you on, Paul. Paul
flipping hell.
did what's it called?
Last comic
Last comic standing.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm asking too many questions, sorry.
Oh, it's like Christmas morning, isn't it?
I'm so happy.
Popped
Paul.
out a little present.
This is a good one, David. Well
It's
done.
like Christmas morning with your autistic uncles come to
To be fair,
visit.
your head looks like it's sticking out the top of a present. Like you're in a box.
Put him back in and up in the loft. What a present Paul would be.
Oh, my god.
Massive
What have you?
box under the tree.
Only his head ever comes out.
Yeah.
How are you, Paul? What are you up to?
Well, my career's gone down a hill since since nothing. You know. Since the glory days, so they were in the past 15 years ago.
Since last contact?
It was all the Tufnell Park, all that stuff. Yeah.
Aces.
No, I haven't done anything. I've got nothing to report. I've got nothing to say. Well, the only thing I've got to say is about things 15 or more years ago.
Exactly what I was talking.
There's nothing in the recent past. Actually, I've recently woken up in hospital. And I woke up in hospital, and they say you lost your memory, sort of thing. Anyway, I lost my memory. I woke up in hospital.
What?
And then they say, not really, obviously.
Oh, God.
Not really.
I thought this was going to be all over the news.
Anyway, the people and the doctors, they said, tell us what you've been doing lately. And I started reeling off various shows from 15 years ago in very small pubs. Then they said, look, we've actually looked at the records. You have had a career in more recent years, but I've forgotten all about it. With the memory loss, I can only remember the old stuff going back years.
Can you remember the Chinese food with peas in it? That was my...
Yeah, I can remember that.
I was
In
obsessed
fact,
with that bit.
sometimes the audience, Well, that was a piece I did about Chinese takeaway price increases. And I would come on stage and I would say, the price of a Chinese takeaway is rising, isn't it? And I would say, it used to be, like, for example, plain rice used to be about £1.30. Now it's about £1.40. That was how it started. And then I went into other details as well, like special fried rice, and talked about with special fried rice, it's not just the price increases, but it's the cost of the raw ingredients. And then I spent a lot of time talking about the bamboo shoot suppliers who had a depot on the outskirts of Heathrow Airport, like a lockup. And then they had an incident where a Korean Airways flight crash landed, and they lost a lot of the bamboo shoots, and that's why the bamboo shoot prices were increasing.
You just don't forget a little bit like this, do you?
Well, it did. The reason people don't forget it is because, in fact, people don't forget it because I was doing a show recently, like a theatre show, and then someone in the audience actually said, "Can you tell us about the Chinese takeaway price increases?" So they remember as well. And the reason people don't forget it was because in its shortest version, it lasted around 10 minutes.
Yes.
And in the longer version, around 35 minutes. But
I remember the 35-minute version.
and I was actually going to do a full 1 hour version. I was going to do a show in 2004 in Edinburgh. That was going to be a full hour just about Chinese takeaway price increases. But it's a long story, not worth going into, but you know Matthew Wright from the Wright stuff on TV. He was having lunch with me and I explained to him I was going to do the whole show about Chinese takeaway price increases, and he just said, "It's professional suicide, Paul." So that's why I cut it down to only 35 minutes.
Because you're not mad.
No, I'm not crazy.
There was a 7-minute section on adding peas, if I remember rightly.
Yes, it was all about the how many peas there are in the special fried rice, and how there's normally only about 9. You always think there's loads. There's only actually 9. Yeah, that was one of the standout highlights of the piece. Of course, the trouble with doing something like Chinese takeaway price increases as a piece of comedy is it's dangerous, because you'll get some members of the audience will love stuff to do with the peas. Other members of the audience will love stuff to do with the bamboo shoot. And then
you can split a room like that.
You can split a room. And also, if I'm being absolutely brutally honest, there would be some members of the audience who'd rather you hadn't started the whole thing in the first place. So, you know, you've got to...
Also, sorry to just bring up everything you've ever done. I remember probably one of the earliest times I saw you was, do you remember... it was filmed at the Bloomsbury Theatre, and you and Trevor did like a Q&A. Everyone else did like 10-minute sets, and I obsessed about that. Where did you go into the audience, or did Trevor? I can't remember which way round, but you. Yeah,
I went into the audience. I was he was on the stage, and I was roaming around.
So funny.
But I think I did 2 of those recordings, sort of within like a year of each other, and the other one was Chinese takeaway price increase. In, of course, the 10-minute short television
ready one. have you ever seen that, David? Where what was it called, that show? Comedy Central or something? I can't remember.
Yeah. Wasn't it Paramount?
It was called Edinburgh and Beyond.
Edinburgh Beyond.
I went to watch it, once.
You didn't see the one where him and Trevor did, Paul and Trevor did...
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's so funny. They just...
Yeah, I seem to remember you stayed away that day, David.
Things were on the ascent.
Not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I said it's
Paul,
been...
can I
mention
14 years. One of your funny bits?
Not really.
It's when you came up with... your own insults for the audience.
Yeah, that's the bit when I came to do your live show a few years ago. You specifically got me to come on stage to do the madness.
It's so funny. He just
what
comes
is it?
up with made up insults for the audience.
Well, it's all like the madness is all like saying all different things. But I wanted to have a bit of comedy. But I thought at the most extreme, it should be comedy that makes no sense, or is at the actual edge of making sense. It's got to have just enough meaning to make it funny, but as little meaning as possible to make it artistically pure. It's kind of just me on stage just sort of saying stuff, and it doesn't. And I wanted to have comedy that didn't have any. There was no emotional connection feel with it. It wasn't sort of about something, or it wasn't making a political point or something. So I would just come on stage and just say things like, "Cop a load of you with your hetero cream." I hear you recently found the keys to an old aunt. Good news? Crumbed melon, anyone? Bit peaky. You look like you contracted Bulgaria. And it went on like that for about...
fake then. But you're struggling on stage, pointing at people. Just
peacocking.
Peacocking around the stage.
Yeah, I know what you'd enjoy. A fist blizzard. It's all like that.
Oh, fuck me.
And you insisted Paul did that. I can imagine you going...
Oh, God, yeah. I'd pay hundreds, thousands for that at my wedding.
It was a big challenge to write it, because I had to come up with loads and loads of words and put them together with other words, and then work out which ones were funny.
Well, we all do that, Paul.
Yeah, that's talking them wrong.
I know, but like literally. And then anyway, I wanted to have a whole show that was just madness, but then I realised. Anyway, I've written about it's about a 5-minute piece of madness, but I think it's probably maybe 50% of all the madness that you could possibly write within the English language, because I've exhausted all the words. I've been over all the words.
Done.
And it was kind of like the creating of it was a bit like, you know how obviously we're all familiar with this. If you're writing, you then sieve it out, and some bits don't work, and you keep the bits that do. But this would be like it was sieving and sieving until they felt like there was going to be nothing left. Nearly everything was disappearing, but at the end there was just a little bit left.
Yeah,
and it works really well. It's a piece I really enjoy performing.
Yes,
and people enjoy listening to.
Paul,
I think.
What percentage of your gigs die on their arse?
Well, very few now, of course, because now I perform in theatres to people.
The connoisseurs
and audience members.
Okay, back in the day when you were, how often what percentage?
Before the connoisseurs.
Before the connoisseurs, I think it was sort of a kind of 50-50 thing going on. I think in the very early stages, like in about 1998 or 1999, it wouldn't be that 50% of them would be a death exactly, but certainly I would maybe go around and do about 20 shows in a month, and one of those shows would remind me why I'm doing it. One of those shows, it would really come together, and that was like, it really gelled that night, and that reminded me, okay, keep going.
Right.
And the other ones were either total death or just kind of in the middle.
What are you feeling when... Because everyone died. What's going on in your head? Like, you sort of like, right... what are you thinking? Like, this is their fault or my fault? Or should I plough on or sod them or what?
Well, yes, I mean, I did think... I couldn't really think of anything else to do as a career, because I'm not a very imaginative person. So I just sort of carried on. I had no idea what I would do if I wasn't a comedian, so I just carried on.
Have you only been a comedian then? Is that your only job you've had?
The only job I've ever done.
Wow.
Aren't you a mathematician, Paul?
No, not really. No, I mean, I did it at university.
Well, the thing is, if
I started-
someone asked me that, I'll go, no. But you said not really.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not really a mathematician. People always say it's something to do with mathematics, studying at university. If you study mathematics at university, people always say, oh, you're a mathematician. Whereas if one studies physics at university and then you become a comedian, I don't think people say, oh, are you a physicist? Are you always in the laboratory, like doing things with physics? And you say, no, I just studied at university. But it's like a sort of thing you can, with mathematics, you can never shake it off. It's like a yoke around your neck. But I think there's an imagination that even though that was 28 years ago or whatever it was since I was at university, that I must be spending all my time, I don't know, doing all complicated formulas in my head all the time.
What? Yeah. What?
So,
what
no,
does it
I'm
mean
not
doing maths?
really a mathematician, but I did study it.
What does that actually mean?
and indeed-
when you go to university and study maths. What the hell? I can't imagine that as a. What do you do? What is it? What do you do?
Well, it's first of all, it's proving things rigorously that we all are pretty obvious, but we want to prove rigorously. So it's things like differentiate like a curve and showing that if you differentiate, that's the angle of the curve and that is actually what you expect, and if it's steeper, then that is a higher figure than the other, that sort of thing. And it's also like set theory is all about numbers. So I spent quite a long time, maybe a whole term, proving that 1 + 1 = 2, because you have to define what is 1, and is there only one 1, or could there be more than one 1? And what is plus, and is there only one plus, and how do you define it? And what is equals?
Thank
what does that mean?
heavens you moved into egg fried rice.
Well, I know, yeah. It's quite interesting. I quite liked it. But I sort of, when I was at university, that's when I discovered comedy, so I did sort of go off mathematics quite.
Where was that? What did you go to one of the like Cambridgey or?
I went to Merton College, Oxford, where I was 1 year above and actually knew slightly a certain person called Liz Truss,
No.
Oh.
who was at the same college as me.
God, what was Liz Truss like at college?
Well, there were no warning signs. I mean, yeah, and I mean, you don't expect it, do you? It's a bit like
No.
you don't expect to be going out, not going out, but talking, going to parties and things or whatever it was. But I didn't know her that well, but knew her a bit, sometimes mixed in
I'd
the
love
same
it if you
social
were
circles.
best mates with her. It'd be amazing.
You don't expect someone to become the Prime Minister, and then you certainly don't expect them to become one of the most disastrous Prime Ministers. But then you don't expect. But I once flirted with a killer.
What?
Whoa! What?
It was a comedian murderer. And yes, well, I was doing a show once, Pear-Shaped Comedy.
Yes, big shout out to Pear Shaped, second
Pear-Shaped Comedy.
worst
And I was
comedy club in the world.
Yeah, the second worst in the world. In London. I think it's the second worst in London.
Sorry,
They don't want to all over the place.
No, sorry.
And I had to introduce this particular comedian, and he seemed ever so nervous. And I said, why are you so nervous? And he said, it's his first ever gig, see? So I said, oh, it's all right, I'll introduce you. And he did his first gig. And then I saw him about a month later at the Wheat Sheaf that we were talking about, Joe, in the Wheat Sheaf at one of those gigs. And then he was doing his second or third gig. And then we were chatting, and he was quite sort of slightly bit flirty, actually. It was a little bit flirty. It was a bit of a frisson. Anyway, then I discovered later that he bludgeoned his girlfriend to death and was serving a life sentence at maximum security.
Fucking hell.
Oh my God.
How flirty were you, Paul?
Well, what are you saying that in some way that I could be
I'm not
responsible?
saying, I'm not asking.
I mean, are you saying I pushed him to the edge?
What was his name?
I can't. I did look it up a few years ago. I think it was Martin something. I can't actually remember. I did look it up a few years ago and found it.
I can't believe I didn't know that.
Oh.
Bloody hell.
Did you find out the reasons why he did it?
That night.
Well, just a killer, whatever.
Yeah.
Smash someone, kill them.
Yeah.
What reason? You don't have to have a reason, Dave. If you want to kill someone, kill them. End it.
Yeah.
Do you know that there was this elderly couple lived at the back of my mum and dad's, and she shot her husband in the middle of the night
Yeah.
with a rifle.
Yeah, just do it. Kill
Happened
it.
on
Kill
my
it.
mum and dad's road. Weirdly
What?
as well. Happened on there was a murder on my mum and dad's road. It's quite a long road, but yeah. Someone
But when you say why, David, you're asking the wrong question. The question is how and what time. I mean, the fact you say why shows you are not a proper. You're not. You don't have the makings of a killer.
Yeah. How and what?
You'll never
time?
make one. You never do it.
You haven't said I haven't. Do you think I have the makings of a...
I think you could.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, I think you could. I think you could start off with something light, like a hit and run.
Fucking hell. I've got a story about hit and run.
Oh, have you? Yes.
Yeah.
Did you do it?
No, do you want to know the story?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. No one's ever said no to anything like that.
That's a hit and run story.
Go on.
I sort of can't be bothered, Paul.
Oh, well, was it? Can I get some of the details? Were you involved in some
No,
way?
but it was someone from our village, and he arranged for a contract killer to knock his wife down.
No.
But your village you live in, it seems to be rather. There's a contract killers. There was that thing about someone with a gun shooting people in the heart. Sounds like Midsummer Murders.
Well, maybe it is. Yeah. He told her, he said, I'll meet you at the pub. And he told her to park down the road at the bottom of the hill. Why do you want me to do that? Just park there. Da, da, da. I'll meet you at the pub. So he planned for her to park there, walk to the pub, and a lorry would come along and knock her down.
Did it work?
No, the contract killer went to the papers.
And said, I am a contract
It's all-
killer. He probably doesn't want to be known as the contract
Why are
killer.
we giggling?
Why did the contract killer go to the paper? What's the point of being a contract killer if you think?
He's unreliable.
What aspects of it? What's the contract killer? I mean, the key's in the word contract. Why did they breach the contract?
I don't know. Now you're interested, though.
Yeah, and also, did the wife fall for it? I mean, did the wife say, yes, all right, for no particular reason, I shall park my car at the bottom of the road and then walk up?
Listen, this is a true story. It's a true story.
Yeah, so what happened?
I
Did the
don't
wife
know
do
the
it?
details,
You don't even know the details.
No.
You don't even know.
You can't tell Paul a story without all the details. You know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know the details. I'm now questioning it.
Is he in any prison?
Well, you didn't know about your murderer story. You knew hardly anything about that.
No, you're right. I didn't know the name.
You just remembered how flirty he was.
Yeah, you knew nothing.
No, I didn't know. No, you're right. But
You've gone quiet.
it was a shame, wasn't it? There was a potential between us. He was flirty, and then he turned out to be a killer.
Yeah.
What a shame.
Of course, I could have visited him in prison, I suppose, and that's how a lot of people start their romances, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, if it was it about 15 years ago?
Yeah, 15 years ago.
Well,
What, the good old days?
No, I'm just saying, 15. He's been inside for 15. He's probably getting to the end of his sentence.
Oh, yes.
You could meet him at the gates. Remember me from the Wheat Sheaf?
Yeah, Martin something.
Martin something. I was wondering if we could continue our flirtation. Now, you've put on some timber. I'm just saying. There was something.
I always think it would be exciting to date a serial killer, you know, and to not really ever quite know whether to believe them when they say, "Yeah, I've killed loads, but I've never hurt you."
Yeah.
For you, I've only got kindness, and you never really know whether that's what they really mean or whether that's just what they say to all the victims.
I think that's the golden rule with serial killers. You shouldn't trust them. I think that's don't trust
Do you
them.
know, someone put on our Patreon that his mum is friends. Did you see that?
No, you told me, didn't you? Oh, no, is it something else?
No.
Go on.
His mum's friend. This has taken a turn, Paul.
Paul is gripped.
Yeah, the mum's friend.
I feel like I shouldn't say this.
Well, bleep it out for you. We'll decide afterwards.
Hello, Chatter Biscuits and Chatter Biscuits with nuts, etc. If you're enjoying this podcast, you need to get on our Patreon. You will get early access to ad-free episodes. There'll be videos and behind-the-scenes sneaky pics. It's basically a place where we all hang out together. And also, you'll be given instant access to our Discord community, which is a friendly place where Chatter Biscuits share stuff and talk to one another. It's like a nice Twitter, basically. So just go to patreon.com/chatterbix. Also, Patreon is also an app you can download onto your phone. All for the price of a coffee. Once a month, you pay a few quid, and you become a VIP Chatter Biscuit. That's what you like. Sign up at patreon.com/chatterbix. The link is in the description of this episode. There, done. Do you know what? There's over 1,000. We've got over 1,000 patrons at the moment.
Patreon, give it to me. Patreon, I need it, girl. Patreon, give it to me. Patreon, I need it, girl.
So, Paul, may I say that I reckon there are about 3 or 4 comedians that make me laugh where it hurts, and you're one of them.
Well, that's kind. Thank you.
Honestly, there are hardly any, but with you, I'm in pain. Yeah, this is a lovely pain.
Well, I think perhaps you might fall into. As you know, I've always loved your comedy, David, the Brian Gittins, and I think perhaps I don't know whether we all fall into that category, but maybe I'm certainly one of those comedians who basically doesn't really like stand-up comedy much.
Exactly.
All gone a bit quiet.
What don't you like about it, Paul?
Well, I think sometimes when I'm watching comedians, I do, of course, because I see comedians all the time, not all the time. When I'm touring, I don't much, but when other places. And sometimes I just think, why is the comedian saying something that seems so obvious, so boring? I just think, why are they even saying that? I don't know. I find some of the things so trite, so uninteresting. That's my reason. What's your reason? and also, I think because I think comedians, there are 2 types of comedians, and some stand-up comedians. Some comedians are kind of clown type comedians, and I think I'm a clown type comedian. You're a clown type comedian. So it's a different sort of comedy to the sort of wise guy comedian that I've never really liked.
Yeah. I remember that one of the first gigs I went to watch, I hadn't done stand-up. I know who was on, I'm not going to mention. But I remember looking at them and going, you've got a stage there, you can do anything you want, and you're choosing to do that, and it's really boring.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know. And because it's great that the industry's changed. I mean, when I started out, no one at all wanted the sort of comedy I was doing. It was just...
Didn't they? When was that, Paul? The late 90s?
Didn't you
96
lots
or something.
of competitions and stuff when you
Yeah, I
started?
did in 97, yeah. I won competitions in 97. But as a general rule, going around the country, I was always on in the middle. It would always be get a normal host, then get first opener, safe pair of hands, put me on in the middle, 10 minutes, can't do too much damage, then get a proper closer.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, and then there was so it's great to see that now one has all these comedy nights where everyone's doing something different. It's all you didn't get those comedy nights before. Before it was just the stand-up comedy clubs. Now the stand-up comedy clubs, to some extent, are sort of dying off a bit. And
is that what it's like at the moment? I guess it is.
Yeah, the old-fashioned ones, and then you get the sort of trendy kind of cabaret sort of unusual comedy nights where they're the ones that are growing, where people, because audience members now, I think there are some audience members who do like more ordinary sort of comedy, as it were, more conventional, but then they'll probably want to go and see a particular comedian that they like. What I think is dying is people wanting to go to just some comedy night. It's going to be 3 people all coming up, 3 men, 3 white men, 3 white straight men, all come on. And then we'll go home. That is dying away, that sort of thing.
Because it's a lot of it's to do with, like you said, people watch, like when comedy started being on telly loads, everyone thought, oh, that must be a good thing. But then the people won't now go to see someone they haven't heard of. Because they're like, well, might not like them. Whereas before, people would take a chance, wouldn't they?
But they would, yes. But I think people will take a chance now at some of these unusual nights, because I think people will say, well, we don't necessarily know who they are, but we want to go to a thing where people are all doing something a bit unusual and different. So that's why those sort of nights are in demand.
I didn't know that. I thought they were sort of dying off as well.
Perhaps, I don't think they are.
Well, no,
I mean, of course,
Collins sort of said, didn't he, the other day, that they were...
What were the main nights? Is it Jongleurs? They went, didn't they? What else?
it was Jongleurs and all
That
that.
became highlight, didn't it? And then there's stuff like the Glee, which is a sort of good version of that, isn't it? That was always the good version of the mainstream.
And there are still those comedy clubs, and they haven't all died off. But yes, there are fewer of them. And yes, and there are more of the places, as far as I can see, where people want to go and see something a bit different. Well, let's go and see there's 8 acts all going on for 5 minutes. They'll all be a bit weird, what's that about? Even if it's...
I spent 10 years trying to do those clubs. I don't know why I did them.
What, the mainstream ones? Well,
Yeah, I don't know. I never had it in my head that I should write a show. For some reason, I thought I had to try and do well in those clubs.
I think everyone does everyone does,
but my
because
acts didn't suit those.
No, but everyone sort of thinks we sort of have to. It's only you work out later you go, no, I don't.
Yes, I mean, when I started out, I just assumed the clubs was going to be where it would be. I've got to be a success in the clubs. So that's how I started. When I started, that's all there was. It was just the clubs. And I remember as far back as 1998, someone saying to me, an industry person saying, "You're not really a club comedian, Paul, you're a theatre comedian." I remember thinking, "What? Of course I'm not. I'm a club comedian. I'm going to make it." And I never became a success in the clubs. Actually, I did become a success in the clubs in about 2010, but then I retired from the clubs about 2 months after becoming a success in them.
Yeah.
I always imagined that's what it was all about. Now, of course, you get comedians, and a lot of comedians never really do the clubs, not those conventional clubs. And it's almost a badge of honour to sort of say, "Oh yes, I've got my unusual act, and I'm doing theatre tour in art centres next year. I'm going to Edinburgh, and I'm doing something for BBC Three, an unusual thing. Where I'm in, and I did a club about 6 months ago. Died on my arse, just like a sort of badge of honour.
Yeah.
Whereas in my day, it was just I was just humiliated. It was just, oh my God, this is my career. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh. Did you do Edinburgh, Paul?
I did it this year. Yes, it was
What's
great.
your show called?
Swan Power.
That's why I asked.
Yes. The show, obviously.
That's the idea behind the show.
Well, the content, obviously, like all my shows, the content.
What are you doing, by the way? Are you doing your admin? What are you doing?
Like
You
that
putting
thing, like,
stamps on
do you know,
envelopes.
yeah, that's what I thought it was.
No, I was doing a picture of a spider. Is that rude to do
No.
a picture during a podcast?
Sort of gum.
It just reminded me of my friend's dad used to be a postman in the afternoon. He used to put stickers on envelopes. He'd come in and he was doing what. It just really reminded me of that.
Oh. Yeah, so, the show is just a silly show, really. It was a good show. And it's still going on. I'm taking it around the country, you know.
Oh, are you? You coming to Brighton?
Yes, I'm coming to Brighton in February.
What venue?
Comedia.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Paul is totally zoned out of this conversation.
Well, I'm just being a little bit evasive. You know, I'm being evasive. I don't want to give too many details away.
What about your tour?
Well, in case you turn out to be a killer
Michael something.
like that,
Martin.
Martin something.
Remember
like that Martin man.
Yeah.
Not-
Paul, Naomi just texted me and said she's going to bring me some eggs down, so you can say hello to Naomi in a sec.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Didn't Naomi work with Paul for a while?
Yeah.
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 I didn't know whether Naomi existed in the podcast world, but she obviously does.
How's that spider coming along?
Nice. But I've got
Have you been working on that for a while, or just during our pod?
for a while. I add a little bit each day.
Is it the first thing you do, or the sort of just in the middle of the day?
In the middle, yeah. I always do art every day because I sell them to my audience. You see,
Yes, you do.
and I'm always running out, so I keep having to make more.
Yeah.
You what? You sell your art to your audience?
Yeah.
Yes, because they're disturbances, they're called. So I have comedy on one side and then a picture on the other side, and then people purchase them. But because I'm on tour at the moment, I'm always having to make a new picture all the time. And I have to just keep up. If I don't do a picture today, then I won't have enough for the weekend.
That makes complete sense.
Do a quick picture of a spider.
You gave us like a really knowing look.
A lovely little smoke.
You're like,
It's a spider that has made errors of judgment.
In what way?
That's the whole point about the spider.
I sort of feel like
It's a spider who appears. What?
I said I feel like I'm sort of on Canal Thursday, which is another. Sort
No,
of,
I mean
no,
anything to Paul.
no.
I don't know what that means, but it's a spider who appeased Putin.
Did he? And that
Yeah, this spider did.
was that his misjudging.
Yeah, that was the misjudgment. Do you remember when last time I saw you, Joe, I had a sleep on you?
Had a sleep on you.
Yes, I do remember that.
What did you?
Yeah. Yeah, in a minibus.
Yeah, you had a little curl up on me, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
five-side? What was that?
On the
What were
way
you
to
doing in
five-a-side.
Five-a-side football.
Paul's an incredible right winger.
What? Where were you going? Why were you in a little bus?
Yeah, why were we in the bus?
We were in the last comic
Oh,
standing.
it was that, yes.
That's
Did
the
you-
last time you saw Joe. It was 25 years ago.
No, it was 15 years ago.
15 years ago.
You haven't seen each other since then.
No.
Probably
What?
not. I've seen Paul in, on thing. Oh, no,
I feel like I was always gigging with Paul, sort of.
Who is?
I felt like we were all sort of gigging
yeah,
together.
but that was probably 20 years ago and then for 5 years. So he's probably right.
Yeah.
I was going to ask then, I forgot what it was. Oh, yeah, last comic standard. Did you get through to the being in it thing?
Yes, I was in the final thing.
And what did you have to do? I can't really remember. You didn't win it? Oh, I don't know. I'm not saying why you didn't win it.Id you win it?
I didn't win it. I was like in the final 10, sort of thing.
Right. Like, and didn't the girl who's gone on to be like... No.
So it was Eliza Schlesinger who won it.
Yeah, and she's like massive in America now.
Yeah, I think so. I did meet her a few years ago in Australia, actually, because she was out there at the time. And she's a nice lady, and I always got on well with her. But I was getting a bit confused with people's careers in America. Because I don't really understand who's having a big career and who isn't. And sometimes people say, well, so-and-so's having a massive career in America. And you look into it and they're not.
Yeah.
And sometimes they really are. So you don't really know.
I just remember something.
And America can just be used as a thing. Like, I met someone once who was in a band, and then I heard, oh yeah, so then some other people in this village where he came from said, yeah, he's doing stuff in America now, and it's all like, whoa. But when you looked into it, it was just he'd once supported some other band in America once, and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
But it's just used as just a thing, isn't it? You're doing stuff in America. Whoa! You can only say that about America. Like if you said doing stuff in Australia, people would say, okay, but what are you doing? What's the nature of it? Is it going well? It's only America that you can say that for.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Did you? Do I remember right? Someone
Yeah,
told me.
doing stuff in Corfu.
But didn't you? Weren't you massive? in
I'm
Australia?
involved in the Leamington Spa area. There's a lot going on around Leamington Spa,
Did you have a big thing in Australia doing an advert on a bike or something?
Yes, I was the face of Virgin Mobile Australia.
That's right. So you were sort of
That was
massive over there for before.
yeah. There was one time when I was the face of this thing, and it was quite a big campaign. It gave me a glimpse of what it was like to be a film star, because I was the face of the campaign, the star of the campaign. So it was a bit, and as you know, or might know, if you're filming one of those things, it's shot on film. It is literally like a film. It's got the budget of a feature film. And so, so you've got a sense of what it's like. So one time there was a crew of about 30, and then you've got probably 60, 70 other cast and crews. There's 100 people, and you're the star of it. And you get a sense. I got a feeling, and this only lasted 5 days. You can see how if you were doing that all the time, you'd start to lose your grip on reality, like Tom Cruise or whatever, whoever it is, all that stuff about you mustn't make eye contact with the star and all this stuff. And
do you reckon that would happen on day 6?
Yeah, on day 6. But also, it also drew to my attention, like sometimes people might think, I've read people say, like there was a thing about John Thor. Oh, that's right. I didn't read it. I met some people, extras, and they said, oh, we were extras on like Inspector North, and John Thor came in. He didn't even say hello, just did his lines and went out. But then I did realise when I was doing this film, there were times when I'd be really friendly and having lunch with everyone and all that, but there'd be times when I'd be really, really busy because I had to learn a whole load of new lines they'd changed, and I was under quite a lot of pressure, and you had to go on, get it right, and then get on to the next thing. So it was a really interesting
Did you
insight.
start behaving like John Thor?
No, I started behaving like John Thor. In other words, actually quite professionally.
Getting on with your day, basically.
Yeah, getting on with the lines. You know.
You monster.
You were a little Robin Hood character, weren't you? Were you
There was Robin de Hood.
Yes.
And also, I was. There's one bit of it involved Richard Branson, because of course he's involved with Virgin.
Did you meet him?
Well, I was going to, but this sounds rather funny, but our diaries, our mutual diaries, didn't allow it. So we had to film our bits separately. We had to film them separately and then connect them up. And then there was quite, like I was on like big things, like I was on buses and trams and things. And the best one was once I was in Adelaide, and I was running to catch a tram, and I like I just got on the tram at the last minute, and then there was this sort of moment whilst various people looked at me because I was like, oh, I just got on the tram.
I'd love to see you run to get a tram.
Yeah, and the first thing was they were kind of getting to grips with the fact that this rather eccentric person had just got on a tram. We were being all a bit like, oh, I've got on the tram, and being all eccentric, wearing a cravat or whatever I was doing. And then there was a second wave of sort of shock when they kind of realised, and I realised at the same time as they realised, that the entire tram, that every single advert on it, the entire tram was a Pullfoot themed tram. But it was like the whole thing was just me.
So your face is on every sort of rectangle poster thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't even just on the posters, it was like on, I don't know, like partitions between the carriages and things. Like it was all like made to be
So
like a
you were
Virgin
running to be
Mobile.
on your train.
How
Yeah.
did you deal with that, Paul?
Did 10 minutes.
How did I deal with
How
it?
did you deal with that little scenario?
I don't think I really thought about it at the time. I just sort of, I didn't really, I think because of the fact that,
Surrounded by pictures of yourself, and you went,
yeah, it was weird. Yeah, and there was one time also when I went into Virgin Mobile, because I wanted to get a Virgin Mobile Australia phone, and they were like, Christ, you are the face of Virgin Mobile. And like the whole shop, again, was all my face. It was my face around the whole shop, and I was in there just saying, oh, can I get an Australian phone number? Have you got a cheap handset? It's just, yeah, you don't think about these things at the time. It's just one of those things that happens.
Yeah.
But it's quite, but then, it would be good to have other career successes in my life.
what, rather than going into a phone shop and being surrounded by pictures of yourself. That's why everyone gets in the biz.
I suppose they do. Yeah, so it was, that was a fun thing to do.
I'd love to be relaxed enough on a pod to draw a spider.
Of course, I'm not actually drawing the whole spider, I'm just colouring some of the bits in. I would never want to draw the actual outline of the spider, not with the pressure of a podcast.
I wish we'd done the before and after, see how much you'd done in the hour.
Yeah.
Is it an hour? I didn't know that.
Well, we've done
an hour.
That's how long
more or
we've
less.
talked.
It's just that the way you said "in the hour," it implies it's always an hour,
Well, no, it's
and
dead-
that's
it's dead
what
on
it
an hour
is.
now.
It's like a double chemistry session. It's an hour. And
Chemistry
sometimes
was an hour, wasn't it? Yeah.
And sometimes you might start the podcast, it's not going so well that day, but you know you've got the hour. Yeah, any career successes for both of you? I hear you've both been very successful on all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Went to America.
Did stuff in America.
Yeah.
I haven't been to America. I have been to.
What's that?
I was thinking I haven't been to America with work.
You went to Last Comic Standing with Paul.
Oh, I have, yeah. Been to Miami. That was the last time.
What other things have you been doing lately, Joe?
This, every day.
This every day.
Do it every day, Paul.
What?
do
What?
this
7
every
days
day.
a week?
Huh?
7 days a week.
5
days.
days.
What about when it was the Queen's funeral? Did you do it then?
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
We rose above it.
What about Christmas Day, Boxing Day? Do you do that day?
No.
No, we don't do that day, no.
No.
You've seen the
So
film.
how many days do you do it? Really?
Probably about 200. Probably
It's
200.
a lot of days, isn't it?
That's like a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Although with a job, as I understand it, you have to go in for like 7.5 hours. So
Exactly.
It's not just an hour. I think I've never done one, but
And you can't just do a spider.
No. No. What if your colleagues just doing that all day?
That guy's got fired again. What do you mean, which one? Who do you think?
Yeah. Well, Paul.
We should leave you to finish your spider.
I nearly finished the spider.
I can't see any difference to it since the first
I've just
time.
put a few edge bits.
Ah.
Do you have a title?
It's going to be the spider who meant well but appeased Putin after the 2014 invasion of Crimea and later regretted
Sure. Yeah.
How do I
Snappy.
get
his
a
actions.
drawing off you, Paul, so that you don't resent having to do it?
How do I what?
How do I get a drawing from you?
Well, you could just ask the ones first. couldn't
Yeah,
you?
but I don't want you to go, oh, God, I've got to do a drawing for him now.
Well, you'll have to. 'Cause it's out there.
Oh no, I've missed a bit.
Yeah. Well, I'd like one of your drawings, Paul, if possible.
Oh well, you can have one.
Not that one.
No. If you got
Yeah.
a little paintbrush as well, you do.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
I can make a picture for you.
Oh, I'd love one.
Yeah, I'm going to make a picture for you called The Broken Mule. And it's a mule and one half is all nice, but it's broken up and all the guts are coming out.
I'd love that.
Would you like that?
Yeah.
So simple.
I would like that. Paul, thanks
you,
so
Paul.
much for coming on.
Well, thank you for being my surprise guest, Paul. I've loved
That's
it.
all right.
I'd love to pop you back in a little present
Yeah,
in a
can you,
little box.
can you lower your head down?
Until next Christmas.
See you in a year, Paul.
Politely ducked away. Oh, God. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.